to ornate mansions. Where is it today? Some of it is hiding beneath the beat-up exteriors of houses and barns, and it could be worth a fortune. Some wood is so valuable, companies like Timeless Timber Frame specialize in recovering and reusing it. They're taking apart a barn built in the 1840s in southern Indiana and moving it 200 miles. The pieces are all numbered and color-coded, then laid out for reassembly like a giant puzzle. The work crew is Amish, a group familiar with traditional building techniques.
Today we are reassembling a barn that was built in the 1840s. These barns were built by master craftsmen who settled here from Europe.
These craftsmen left marks that revealed what it took to carve out timbers. They cut each one from a log.
Somebody that was hewing a log would store the log on top with a felling axe, and that log would be flipped, and they could come on with a broad axe and go straight down the side of it. And you see that's almost a perfect 90-degree angle. Incredible. You're talking 15 to 30 work hours involved with just making a timber square.
Timber framing is also known as post and beam, because those are the two basic parts. The idea is to interlock large timbers that bear tons of weight to create a large open interior. The barn's frame is a basic but very solid structure. 4 bents, or support sections, connected by top plates. The first step is to put each bent back together.
Today we're lifting this bent section with a crane. Years ago they would have used a horse and block and tackle or the whole neighborhood. This bent section probably weighs 3,000 pounds, and I wouldn't even want to think about having to get that many guys here to lift it by hand. Once the bent section is picked up and swung over in place, it'll be set down on the foundation.
The original builders didn't use metal nails to connect the frame, and Timeless Timbers follows the same process.
These two beams are held together with mortise and tenon joinery. This is a tenon on the post. There's also a tenon on this beam that comes over and goes through this mortise hole in the post. So this tenon is actually attached to this beam, and they're pulled together, and then they're joined with wooden pegs.
It takes the Timeless Timbers crew less than a day to reassemble and place the bents. The next step is to connect them with a long horizontal piece called a top plate.
It's tricky because the wood has a memory, and it wants to go back to the place that it was prior, when it was a barn for 140 years. So when it's moved, it'll get out of square. They're making adjustments to it right now. Sometimes it's hard to get that top plate back to where it needs to be to have everything line up just perfect.
Every piece has to go back together exactly the way it came apart.
When you look at a timber frame, you have to look at the whole thing as a system. When you're building a timber frame, you can only be off less than an inch on anything that you do. If it's too loose, the structure will fall apart eventually. If it's too tight, you're bound to break things. Timber framing is an art.
It's an art that Timeless Timbers keeps alive in modern houses and artist studios. But for all its versatility, wood does have its weaknesses. Rot and fire. Next up, wood gets sliced and diced and goes up in smoke, but proves it's still the wonder material. George Washington had